Hey guys, welcome to Take This. This is episode number 16, where Griff and I talk about college football, and more college football. Today, it's going to be exciting because we got some talking about college football. Can you tell what we are going to talk about? Let's just do it.
Welcome in, everybody. Happy Labor Day to you and all your loved ones. Hopefully, you're all enjoying your day off. Be sure to thank a socialist for it. Brad, how you doing today?
Great. It's weird, so my second job, whatever you call it, my job. I'm a barista at Starbucks, and so I found out that we get paid time and a half for working on Labor Day, which is crazy.
Yes, you do. It's a federal holiday, and I believe most places are mandated.
I didn't realize
to pay
that
overtime pay. I believe.
I didn't realize that because
when I worked at Whole Foods, it was time and a half, and then if you worked on Thanksgiving, it was double pay.
Okay, because I know that when I worked because I'm not a full-time employee at Starbucks. I go to school too, and I used to work at Kroger years ago, and I think you were at the time you only got Thanksgiving paid time and a half or double or whatever it was if you were a full-time employee and you worked there for a year.
Wow.
Which is so messed
I do know
up.
some places had the option to do it, but I think a lot of places now do it because most places offer it, and to get people to work on a holiday, it takes a little bit of, you gotta incentivize people.
Right, exactly.
It's hard to want to work when everyone else has the day off. So, but yeah, obviously, Brad, Labor Day weekend is one of the best weekends of the year because this is the weekend where football is really back. We are, we're recording this on a Monday. If you're listening on a Tuesday, we're 2 days away from the first NFL game of the season. We just had a jam-packed weekend of college football, and now, we're really going to get into the full swing of football. Baseball playoffs coming up, the start of the NFL or the NHL and NBA seasons. It's exciting, very exciting thing to see. So, why don't we just jump right into it, man? NCAA, college football, their real kickoff weekend was this weekend. I know there was a few games last week, but this was like the full-blown thing. All the teams playing. We're back to a full-blown schedule. And I think there was a lot of the games were kind of boring, though, I think. The most exciting game, I think, hands down, was Florida State and Notre Dame. And that was last night. That was Sunday night.
Yeah, so, I guess it was weird. The one game I did watch, obviously, Michigan State, Northwestern. I live in East Lansing.
That was on
Michigan State,
Friday night.
Yeah, that one was fun. That one was really fun. I didn't even watch the first play, which was a 75-yard touchdown run by Kenneth Walker. And then he ended up rushing for almost 250 yards. And 206 of those came after the contact, which is great. Really, really just insane performance overall. I was not expecting that. But at the same time, you had said that Michigan State could beat Northwestern, and yes, Michigan State's 2 wins last year came against one against Northwestern, one against Michigan. So it's not like they were completely an underdog. Plus, Northwestern's kind of one of those. I didn't realize that Fitzgerald had coached Northwestern for so long. I thought it was one of those success stories from what's his name? PJ Fleck, is that his name? From Minnesota, where he coached or was amazing at Western Michigan, so he got a job at Minnesota. Like, I thought it was some like weird, like wild success story. I didn't realize he was there for so long, but he had success at Northwestern, so it's not like this was complete. Their Northwestern success is completely out of the blue. At the same time, though, like I still think it's impressive. Like, Northwestern doesn't have a great team, but like it's still impressive that Michigan State was able to come around in the first game.
No, I had a lot of faith in Mel Tucker. I think he's going to be a problem for Michigan for years to come.
Yeah, right.
Unfortunately, but that is what it is, and it's one of those good. It's a good thing for the Big Ten and for the rivalry. I like when the rivalry is good, and if Michigan beats them, I like when they beat good Spartan teams, because then the win means something more, right?
Right. Well, and I think like all the Michigan State games are always close. I think if Michigan loses this game, I think it's over. Like, I think this like shit hits the fan. That's when shit hits the fan. If Michigan State beats Michigan this year, which I wouldn't even know what to do. Like, I just wouldn't even know what to do with that. I wouldn't know how to process that if Michigan State beat Michigan again. Though I said like it's probable.
You'd be happy and talk shit for the next year.
I mean, I would, but like as someone who watches college football, I wouldn't know what to do with that. I mean, Michigan State's like not a bad team, but like at the same time, like you just lost to Michigan State twice in a row in rebuild years. What's wrong with you? Sort of thing. So, but as for the other games, it was actually kind of funny because I wasn't watching any of them, except for I watched a piece of the Notre Dame Florida State game. I was on vacation.
Did you see the thing with the end of that game?
The Notre Dame game.
Yeah,
No.
with the Florida State quarterback, Mackenzie. Oh God, sorry. No, FSU quarterback. I just gotta look it up. One moment.
Mackenzie Milton.
Thank you, Mackenzie Milton.
Yeah. Unlikely comeback when the Seminoles.
Yeah,
Bobby
I mean, the
Bowden.
dude's whole fucking knee was obliterated when he played on UCF. Transferred to FSU. No one thought he was going to ever even play again. And the fact that he came in the game and threw a dart downfield.
So this game went into overtime.
Because of him.
Right.
And it's I was like, I really wanted them.
Oh my God,
to be the
18 points in that last quarter?
Yeah,
Fuck.
They ran 18 unanswered points. They were marching down the field. They got a 2-pointer. The first thing they scored was a 2-pointer to get 8 points. Then they got a touchdown.
A 2-pointer? What is that?
Goal.
That's
a 2-point conversion.
Oh, it was a 2-point conversion, so that's why it counts as 6 in the third and 18, and I get it. Because I was gonna say, like, what did they get?
No. They scored 8 points in one drive.
Oh,
they scored 2 field goals in the third.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm just out here like.
So yeah, they got a touchdown, 2-point conversion, another touchdown, and then kicked a field goal to tie it with 15 seconds left.
Okay.
They were very close. They were down at like the 20-yard line.
Right.
They just ran out of downs and couldn't get the touchdown, unfortunately. But with all that being said. Fortunately, they still lost. I mean, their kicker missed the field goal in overtime to send it to second overtime with the way college football works. And Notre Dame's kicker drilled a 50-yarder to win it. And it was unfortunate. I hate Notre Dame. I'm not going to mince any words about that. I do not like Notre Dame football. But a good first win for them. I still don't think Notre Dame will be good. Like, I don't think they're making the college football playoff.
No,
to say the least.
And regardless, I think going back to that too. What's so funny is I said that Georgia would get in over Alabama.
They're gonna get in over Clemson.
Well, now that's a very good possibility too. Is that Alabama and Georgia get in without Clemson? Like that's what it would be right now. Obviously, there's a long season to go.
That's the thing, and it's like we have, like let's say Alabama, Georgia. And then you have Ohio State from the Big Ten. I don't know what the other team is. One loss, Clemson probably still makes it, but I'm not sure.
So Georgia right now is
that fourth. Really, I think at this point it'll be like Bama, Ohio State, especially with how good Bama looked. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be Bama, Ohio State, and then slots 3 and 4 is gonna be either a Georgia and Clemson and maybe like Notre Dame. Right. It's all really going to depend on how maybe Oklahoma as well. It's all going to shake out, depend on how this season shakes out.
Well,
and who gets their title games and all that.
So going back to that pipe dream of me thinking Georgia will get in. So I'm looking
that defense is suffocating.
I'm looking at the schedule this year. Look at this. Mm-hmm. So Clemson was really like their good opponent this year. Okay, like they play Clemson, and from now until the end of the season, they play one currently ranked team. And again, these could change. UAB, they got obviously that's a win. South Carolina, they got Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Auburn, Kentucky, Florida, Missouri, Tennessee, Charleston Southern, and Georgia Tech. Now, Florida's the only ranked team on that list. I still think that Georgia beats them easily. I think the only game that I would think that Georgia has a chance to lose is against Auburn, because Auburn, it's in Auburn.
Baby. Bo Nix season.
Well, it's in Auburn, so wouldn't you think that would be harder?
Yeah, I just still don't think Auburn is.
No.
They're not.
No, but the Florida game is also, it's in Georgia, so, there's that. And then they play Georgia Tech at the end of the year for their It's always weird to me that the SEC plays, their conference games, so early. And then... but the Big Ten played conference games this year, which was, early, week 1. That was weird. Why is Michigan State? When did that happen?
That's all for TV, mostly.
So it's just
Michigan
because of the
State
COVID
is
year?
going to face what?
It's all for the COVID year, because I was under the usually in the Big Ten, doesn't the Big Ten games start I don't know, week 4, week 5?
Yeah, but sometimes they'll do a week 1 game for ratings, right? They just have something to market. Oh, inter Big Ten matchup. Basically, it's Michigan's going against UW, University of Washington,
right,
this week. Well, Michigan, they had Western, which was a cakewalk. No offense, I love my hashtag Maction, but Michigan should have. That game never should have been close, and it wasn't. But Michigan State's going against Youngstown State this week, so that's going to be a fucking rout.
Well, and I was looking at this too, and it's very weird to me. So only 4 teams in the Big Ten did not play each other this week.
Michigan,
Maryland, Rutgers, and Purdue. Every other Big Ten team played a Big Ten game.
Who did Ohio State? Oh, they went against
Minnesota. Yeah.
By the way, I want to touch on that, just to touch on Big Ten, real quick. We talked about Mel Tucker, and you have this question here, which I think is a ridiculous statement to make so soon.
Listen.
Mel Tucker is a better head coach than Jim Harbaugh. Do I think that's entirely possible? Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Can we definitively say after 1 game against Northwestern? No.
Okay, also
but he's definitely I think by the end of the season I'll say this. By the Halloween game between MSU and Michigan, you could easily say Mel Tucker is better. Actually, no. I'll do you even better, Brad.
Yeah.
If Michigan struggles or loses to University of Washington, and Mel Tucker, obviously he's going to dominate Youngstown. But let's say he comes out and I'm looking at the schedule, and I think Michigan State they might lose to Miami, but like they could be 5-1. 6-1
Oh yeah,
by the time they go up against Michigan.
Beginning of their schedule is infinitely easier than the last half. Like easier. I could say they might be Indiana.
I think Michigan State could go 9-3. Like lose to Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State.
Yeah, I really think
that's entire. Maybe not. Maybe 8-4 with losing to Miami, Florida.
Yeah,
I can't really tell how good that team is. Miami, Florida got their doors blown off by Alabama, but it's Alabama, so I'm not gonna hold that against them too much.
Well, one thing that I noticed too is I don't know if you saw much of that Michigan State game, but what's this dude's name?
I did. I watched basically all of it.
What's that guy's name? Peyton something. Fuck, that's gonna bug me.
Their quarterback?
Yeah. So I know
Peyton Tram or something.
Peyton Thorne. That's who it is.
Thorne.
Sorry, I got the ESPN schedule pulled up. So Michigan won this game 38-21, and Peyton Thorne only had a touchdown. He was 15 for 25 with 185 yards. That's
did
not
have
bad.
to throw the ball much. Did not have to throw the ball much.
Well, right.
Which you can get away with in college.
No, absolutely. I think that one thing that really surprised me, and mind you, first off, there was a quarterback battle going in at Michigan State for those who are just kind of following along. So Peyton Thorne won this. Okay, he won QB1. That's what he did. Now the main reason why is because of his ability to preserve the football and not turn it over. Okay, and I think that was very, very, very explicitly visible in this game. So there was one play that I saw where
very conservative quarterback.
He was under pressure, okay, and he saw there was nobody the hell open. So and he was again under pressure, so he just threw the fucking ball away. And it wasn't too quick, it wasn't too soon or anything. He just knew that he wouldn't instead of making some garbage throw and trying to do too much like young quarterbacks do so very often, he just threw the ball. And I was just like, that's great. I don't understand. I was so infinitely impressed with that play just because he wasn't dumb about it. And I know that's the bare minimum.
It sounds not much, but you really do just need your quarterbacks to not be dumb with the football sometimes.
Well, and I think too with Michigan State having that quarterback battle, because if Peyton Thorne didn't produce, then you were gonna have Michigan State try to do a Tom Brady in Michigan type deal where you got where Michigan had Brady play the first half and then or the second half, and then you'd have what the fuck was his name come in the first half, and you'd kind of switch between
they would
to
play
see who was there until you stick with the guy.
And I'm glad it seems like MSU isn't going to do that, and I think that's really important. I think one of the expectations of MSU this year is you got to figure out who's your QB1.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think it's fine if they rotate some QBs throughout the year this year. But they need to, figure it out by the end of this year.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's
and I think
acceptable.
next year, depending on how this team does this year, next year could be the expectations could be very high for MSU, which is great for them. I'm glad to see that they've bounced back so quickly, and I hope Michigan spanks them every single year. But speaking of state, really, we can't talk about that game without talking about Kenneth Walker III. Big Ten offensive player of the week, 23 carries, 264 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Just an insane stat line.
He was a Wake Forest transfer.
A lot of this MSU team is. They got 10 transfers in on this team, and Mel Tucker wasn't playing around. No. In good form.
No.
But yeah, it was a good game. It was a well-called game. The scoreline showing it, what was the fine? It was 35-21, 38-21. And that looks like a rout, but it was even worse. The 2 touchdowns Northwestern scored was because Michigan State was in prevent. Like,
yeah.
Because they were winning. They were up by 30,
Right,
you know?
Right. And that happens in
like
college
football.
football.
This game was over before the first half.
Right.
If I'm being real.
Yeah. No,
it was just like, it was impressive. And that impressiveness, like, it's a sign of great things to come for Michigan State. And, you know, it frustrates me because, man, I just want to fucking see this from Michigan. Like, that team was playing.
Yeah.
They were fucking... and like I said, it's Northwestern. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's a Big Ten school, and you got to do that. And this is a team that came in with low expectations, so maybe, you know, that's a benefit of their praise. Is they just look so much better than what everyone was expecting them to, especially after what is really Mel Tucker's first year. But they're playing good football as they should.
So you want to know what you want to know something kind of crazy about Kenneth Walker real quick. So I'm looking at his career stats, okay, and he again was a transfer from Wake Forest. As a freshman, you know, he played against MSU in the New Era Pinstripe Bowl in 2019.
Interesting.
On December 27th, he was actually in pretty much every game that year for Wake Forest. Played in the game against Clemson, Virginia Tech. His longest run before that was he had a 96-yard touchdown run in against Rice, where Wake Forest won 41-21. He had a 96-yard touchdown run, so that's his longest touchdown run in his career. Which is pretty hard to beat. He also had another 75-yard touchdown run against Virginia in October of last year. And then this year, obviously, against Northwestern, he had that 75-yard touchdown run. But I don't know. I think that's kind of interesting. He's from Tennessee. He's 5'10". What a guy. So what else were we talking about? We had
well, the one thing I wanted to talk about with the Big Ten was Ohio State.
Yeah.
I think all the other big schools, they look good, regardless of how tough their matchup was. Clemson is obviously only scoring 3 points, is not great, and even Georgia only scoring 10. Granted, Clemson is a good team, and you know all that matters is the win at the end of the game. But I think you know, most of the teams looked good. You know, Alabama's going to be in the playoff again. I think it's pretty clear. Things like that. The one team I actually have some mild concern for is Ohio State. And I promise you, this is not because I am a Michigan fan. I have said openly.
Are you sure? Look at this guy. Look at this. C.J. Stroud was 13 for 22, 294 yards, 4 touchdowns.
It's not the offense I'm concerned about.
Is it the defense? They gave up 31 points to
Minnesota. Yes, but let me talk. Brett, let me explain. I have been openly said that Ohio State has been Michigan's daddy for the last basically almost 2 decades at this point, with us only having a handful of wins, right? They've been the better team through and through, and I don't think that this weakness that I'm pointing out means that like Michigan's going to beat them this year or anything like that. What I did see, that offense looks great. It always does. Those receivers are insane. C.J. Stroud, Ohio State just keeps churning out fantastic college quarterbacks. None of them ever make it in the NFL, which, again, that's nothing even against the school. Some guys just don't make the leap, although Justin Fields obviously we'll have to see. But in college, they win and they beat Michigan. So that's all that matters. That's all that Ryan Day has to do. And he's doing it very well. My concern is the defense, and very specifically the corners and some of the defensive backs. Some of them were getting a little toasted by those Minnesota receivers. And I think Minnesota is actually a fairly good team. They're not a world beater, but like they're a fun team in the Big Ten. And I like PJ Fleck, and I just think he's a very methodical coach, and he's very good at what he does. And I just think some of those guys, they didn't look good on that defense. I think I don't know if they just were outmatched, if there's the scheme they were playing wasn't great wasn't the right fit against Minnesota. But I think if Ohio State loses a game this year, it will be because of that defense and because of that secondary. And if there was a team they were going to lose to, I don't think it might not even be Michigan. Ohio State has this thing where they will lose a very random game at some point in the season. A couple years ago, they lost to Purdue. They've lost to Iowa. They lost to Iowa a couple years back. Like, they just have this random game that somehow always gets them. Like, Indiana could be that team this year. Or
they play
like
Oregon next. Like, their next game is Oregon,
next.
who's
I'm actually
ranked 11th.
Not that worried about Oregon.
For Ohio State,
I think Penn State. I think Penn State is like their biggest threat.
Indiana could
I would
sneak
say
up
Penn
on
State,
Indiana can be sneaky.
Sneaky. Yeah, I would say sneaky, but like their most like visible threat is Penn State and then either Oregon or Michigan. At least as it stands right now, right? And maybe even Michigan State with how they play. Now when I say the most visible threat, I just mean like the better teams there. But like I still think I still have to bet. If I had to bet what each of these outcomes would be, it would be they'd go undefeated, right? Like I'm just saying these are the games where if they are going to get a gotcha'd, it would be one of those games. Specifically, I think Penn State. And I think it all depends on how that secondary does. It's totally possible they get their shit together and they become locked down and this team goes to the college football playoff without breaking a sweat. That is totally possible. But, that remains to be seen and we'll have to wait until excuse me. We'll have to wait until I think October 30th. Wow, that's going to be a great weekend for Big Ten football. Michigan State, and Penn State, Ohio State are both that weekend.
That's crazy.
That's going to be a super fun weekend.
I'm looking at this
football.
win probability, too. I didn't see this game. Again, I was at Mackinac Island, like, having a great time. And I actually only turned on the Michigan game for a little bit. But I never caught any of the Ohio State game. I don't think. I might have saw, like, some recaps or something. But, like, I'm looking at this win probability. Now, obviously, like, if you go down the scoring recap, like, you can see that Minnesota had a lead they were leading at the end of the half. What was that, 14-10. And then Ohio State immediately got a touchdown within the first few minutes. And then Minnesota got a touchdown. It was 21-17, and then Minnesota never led from there. But at that point, even when Minnesota was winning, Ohio State still had positive win probability, but it wasn't until Minnesota actually took that 21-17 lead and had, I think it was when, because I don't know what happened here, but there was something that happened that kind of changed that. It was a run from Minnesota, and then there was an unnecessary roughness penalty. And I don't know what happened after that, but after that, it just spin rolled for Minnesota. So I don't know. I think that Minnesota was in that game, and then some shit probably happened and like spun the momentum directly back at Ohio State, and then Ohio State just took that and rolled with it. But you're right. Like, I don't know how you get. I mean, not that Tanner Morgan's a bad guy. Like, he's a good quarterback, but just like giving up 31 points if you're Ohio State is kind of I don't know if it's a red flag or not. I guess it would be 21 if they weren't like in like coast mode at the end. But anyway,
and they might have.
They might have been, but still, like, you're right. Like Minnesota was in that game in the third quarter, and then Ohio State just took it from there.
And then and then Ohio State was Ohio State, and the offense really kicked in.
Right.
And like I said, that's right now. And like I said, this what I'm saying right now, I could be totally wrong in a couple weeks, because Ryan Day is a very good head coach.
Oh, absolutely.
I hate to say it, but he is. I'm not a Michigan fan that's going to deny the reality of Ohio State's a world beater, and we're not. And
right.
obviously there's always a chance that Michigan can beat them, and I think this year Michigan's only gone against Western. There's not much I can say about it.
There's not much you can base this team off of.
Right. It looks like the offense is clicking a little bit better than it used to. Defense, I mean, you held Western to 7 throughout the whole game, gave up another 7 in the fourth quarter when you probably had third stringers out there, so I don't care.
Right.
I want to see how they do against really UW this upcoming week. I know they just lost to Montana, so now I really think this game is must win. Mm-hmm. I expect them to win it at this point. Like, I expected them to blow out Western,
right?
And now I expect them to win against Washington. After that loss they just had, you have to beat them. And if you don't, then, I mean, it's one of those things. You lose to them, your season's over, right? That's how college is. You have one loss, your season's over unless you can beat Ohio State, which you aren't. So, like I said, I think Michigan's goal this year is to win every game except Ohio State. I mean, and I think that would be a successful year.
I think their goal. But here's this too. If I were a Michigan fan, I would want every game on this schedule. I wouldn't give a shit about except for Michigan State and Ohio State. You win those 2 games, and I'd be happy. To be honest, like, I mean, yeah, you'd want to win.
I need more than that.
But like, I would take if I was a Michigan fan.
I want to go to Indy.
Okay, but if I was a Michigan fan, I would take a loss to Wisconsin if that meant winning against Ohio State.
See, I'm the opposite. Like, I literally asked some people about this. If you could choose between beating Ohio State but not going to the college football playoff, or not going to Indy for the Big Ten title game because Ohio State has a better, like, let's say you lost 2 games and then you beat Ohio State. Ohio State still goes because they have the better record.
Right.
Would you rather that, or basically the vice versa? Ohio State loses 2 fluky games somehow, which I understand.
I don't think
isn't going to happen.
2,
this is purely a hypothetical for where Michigan fans are at. Understanding their headspace. I said, would you rather lose to Ohio State and then go to the Big Ten title game? And all of them said, yeah, they'd rather beat Ohio State. I would rather beat Indy because going to Indy means I go to the college championship. But realistically, in the real world, you have to do both. You have to beat Ohio State. You can have one loss. That's the thing, though. If Michigan loses 1 game but beats Ohio State and goes to the Big Ten championship, they will go to the college football playoff.
Right.
The committee will put them in because they are one of the biggest names in college football, just because the U of M, the University of Michigan, has that level of brand recognition.
Right.
So that's really what it comes down to. So we'll see. I hope that come October 30th, Michigan is undefeated and beats Michigan State. But my thing is, I want to go into here would be my dream. Michigan goes into the Ohio State game with a chance at going to the playoff, which is super high expectations, and I don't think they will. I don't think that's going to be the case, but that would make me happy even if they lost to Ohio State, because I think that means they've taken a big step forward and they could be close to taking the next step, basically. So, but yeah, that's my thoughts. I think, this upcoming week we're going to have a lot more interesting matchups. I think Ohio State, Oregon will be interesting. I think Michigan, University of Washington is going to be interesting. I know Washington had that loss, but they're a Power 5 school, and it's still a game Michigan could lose. So every win is important here. And I will be watching them all very closely. Probably not going to watch Michigan Youngstown because who cares if they're going to win 50-7. Right?
I was going to see if I could try to go to that game, but I work. Unfortunately,
that would be those are the cheap ones. Those are the fun ones because your team's going to win and they're the least expensive because it's not like a big rivalry game.
Right, exactly. And Michigan State's not great enough to I would love to see the Miami game, even if Michigan State loses, which obviously they probably will. But I would love to go to the Miami game, but it's in Miami because Michigan State's not great. So Michigan State doesn't have the leverage to schedule that as a home game.
Mhm. Yep. So, yeah, we'll see. But yeah, and the football and everything, man. I'm almost more excited for next show just because we're gonna so much to talk about. But before that, we're gonna talk about your fantasy team. You did your draft today, but we'll talk about that after a quick break. Does that sound good to you, Brad?
That sounds great.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you people and make fun of Brad's fantasy football team right after this. And welcome back. So, Brad, I'm going to pull it up here. Your team. Got to pull it up on my phone.
Okay.
Got it. I got it right here.
Yeah.
So
I have it right here too.
So, I'm going to read it off. Okay. And I'd like to just I'd like you to tell me your thought process at each of these picks, and if you remember, like which rounds you were taking these guys in. I can kind of tell based on these guys, like what their ADP was,
right,
where you probably took them. So your QB, who I also have in my league, Justin Herbert. You got. I have the draft
pulled up actually, if that helps.
Oh,
the whole draft.
Yeah, but I'm trying to guess when you might have taken these guys.
Great. Okay.
And you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. Yeah. But Herbert, I took him in my league. My fiance took him in her league, which I helped her draft. I think it's a very good pick. I think I don't think he sophomore slumps. I think if anything, that offense should be better this year. Yeah. I think Herbert's is gonna be a fantasy machine for you. Now, John, I think you probably took him round 5?
Well, no. So I wanted to put this out there. There were 16 rounds. Oh, wait, hold on. Round 5? Let me double check. Hang on.
I was going to say, my draft was 15 rounds, but I have a bigger bench than you.
Okay. Yeah.
In my league.
So mine was 16 rounds. So you were close. I'm sorry. I just wanted to get it out there, make sure you knew how many rounds there were. Not that it really, truly matters, but it does. Round 6. So
tell everyone 6 rounds. That's actually even better place to get him. I think I also got him in round 6.
Okay.
Which is right. It's a good place to get a quarterback if you want, because what happens every year is the run on quarterbacks is what I call it. One person will take, one of those guys, not like the Josh Allen or Mahomes, but someone starts taking the Russell Wilsons and the Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I wanted to
and then
pick
people
a QB
start to panic.
Even though I know the point, minimal the differences between the points with quarterbacks is low, I wanted to take a quarterback that had some sort of downfield passing pattern. I think is my thing, where Herbert's putting up the fucking points or whatever. I took him ahead of Aaron Rodgers. I had the option,
and I think that's the right move. I just threw Aaron Rodgers out there as an example.
Yeah.
No, I think he's the right move. And so moving down the list, and real quick, everyone knows, Brad's draft has pretty big teams. Normally, my league is 1 QB, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a flex, a tight end, defense kicker. Brad's league is 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 2 flexes, and then defense. And you guys don't do kickers. I guess not. Which I like, actually.
What the fuck's the point?
I wish my league would do two backs, 2 receivers, 1 tight end, 2 flexes.
I don't think kickers should be a part of fantasy football. Sorry.
It's just it's random. It's literally it's the most luck-based part of it. Yeah. I mean, it's all luck, right? You got to hope your guy does well. But I think kickers are just so random.
Yeah.
That it just I like that you don't have it in yours, and I think our league is going to move to that soon. But I'm fine with defenses, but I don't like kickers. So your 2 starting running backs are Jonathan Taylor and Kenyon Drake.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
I actually need to know. So it's a 12-man league.
Yeah.
Where did you pick? What was your draft pick number?
I was 7th, and it was Snake. So in the odd numbers, I get 7.
Brad.
And
okay, so I got to know who was available running back wise
when I took Jonathan Taylor.
Yes, I need to know who else, what other backs were available.
I can tell you. So here's the first few. Okay, I'll run these down. So McCaffrey was taken 1. Dalvin Cook was gone. Alvin Kamara was gone. Derrick Henry was gone. Saquon Barkley was gone. Ezekiel Elliott, who I was going to pick, was taken right before me. And
everyone
everyone else
was never going to make it to 6.
Everyone else was available. So he was just the first guy.
You taking Taylor, and here's the thing: you could end up looking like a genius.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
bet I
like
could.
I don't hate it.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor is a good back, and he's got a great offensive line, and that offense is going to have a good mix of pass and run. So it's not a bad pick.
No.
I probably would have taken Austin Eckler.
He was taken round 2, pick 2. What?
Is your league PPR?
What the fuck does
Point
that
per
mean?
reception?
I don't fucking know. Dude, I'm just starting. Listen.
Okay. I need you to find that out for me because that is very important.
PPR,
Basically, that means
how do I find that?
It would be under your league like rules or leagues rules.
Rules. Okay.
But the reason I bring that up while you're looking for that is point per reception just means every catch is worth a point, whereas standard leagues, it's just yardage and touchdowns.
Yeah.
So a running back running the ball would only get points for the run, whatever yards they got, but a point per reception league would be you get a point for the catch and then however many points for the yardage as well on top of that.
Yeah, so
if you had 10 catches, that's 10 points, whereas in a standard league, you would not get those 10 points.
Each reception's a point. A touchdown reception is 6 points. 2-point receiving conversion is 2, and then 0.1 for every receiving yard.
You have standard scoring then in your league, which is what my league does as well.
Okay.
So, like I said, I like Taylor. The reason I would think I would have liked Eckler more, especially in PPR, is he catches the ball out of the backfield a lot, and he's going to get a lot of extra points from that.
I see what you're saying.
But Taylor's not bad by any means. So then it came back around, and this is where I'm a little curious as to. My guess is you took DK Metcalf. Drake?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking about the second round.
Yes, because this is where I think.
Yeah, I took DK Metcalf.
If anything kills your team, it's what you did here.
I took DK Metcalf. Absolutely.
You took the receiver.
I did.
Which is fine. But my thing is, you probably had. If Eckler went in round 2, was Aaron Jones available?
Aaron Jones was taken first round, 10th pick. I had Aaron Jones.
Wow, Aaron Jones went. I mean,
he went after I took. Travis Kelce was taken in the first round. He was the only tight end.
That's also not surprising.
No.
Travis, I know. I said I wouldn't do it
when I took a running back.
Oh, in the first round?
Yeah, in the first round.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Again, I would like Taylor where you took him. Yeah. That's fine.
But DK Metcalf, you
probably could have taken. Could you have taken Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Was he there for you in the second?
Yeah, he was there. He was taken at the end of the second round.
I probably would have taken him just to really solidify your receivers because look who you still got.
But
I mean,
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, isn't he a running back?
He is.
Okay, then what?
But I'm saying you would have had two. So Kenyon Drake is not a starting running back.
Well, that's
you have a
dumb.
backup.
That's stupid. How did I end up with? Well, yeah, because I didn't take him.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting that. I guess. I mean, I'm sorry. I wasn't not expecting that. Like in round 7.
So Kenyon Drake isn't. He's gonna. Kenyon Drake will play.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a 50-50. It's a running back by committee team.
Right.
Where him and Jacobs are gonna split. Now Drake does have the advantage where he's going to catch the ball a lot.
I took my second running back in round 7.
Yeah, that's a terrible idea. You should at least could have gotten Myles Gaskin, who's a starter.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like I said. This was your one mistake because the thing is,
Myles Gaskin was taken in round 6. I should have taken him instead of Herbert.
I would have taken him in round 5 just to get a good second running back.
Oh my god, yeah. I ended up taking Mark Andrews in round 5.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't want you to feel like this is gloom and doom.
Yeah, okay.
Your running back 2 might be a low point, but your league has a lot of guys, right? So if you have a receiver that has a crazy good week, they kind of can make up for it.
Right.
Like in my league, because we have 2 less players than you do, I can't afford to have a running back that doesn't play as well.
No, you can't.
So my only point was instead of getting Metcalf, let's say you got Edwards-Helaire, you would have still had Mike Evans, Amari Cooper, and Mark Andrews as your 2 receivers and a tight end, and then you still get another receiver. I just think receiver is so much deeper that I'd rather get 2 good running backs at the
I
game.
think what happened in a lot of these picks, if I'm going to be honest, is because there were I was telling you about this, where several of these guys were taken like picks before me. So like the first one was Jonathan Taylor, where I wanted to take Ezekiel Elliott, but he wasn't available. He was taken 6, and I'm pick 7. For DK Metcalf,
yeah, I'm not surprised he didn't make it there.
For DK Metcalf, I wanted, and I wasn't surprised by this. I wanted to take Tyreek Hill, for my wide
was Hill
receiver.
Available there?
No, he wasn't. He was taken at the end of round 1.
That's not surprising. He's one of the few receivers that normally go in the first
Well,
round.
and that's the thing. So then I think I was switching it to someone. I think it was like Stephon Diggs, but then Diggs was taken before. Like I had queued both.
Those were all guys
in the
that,
thing.
if you were picking 7, those guys were never going to get back to you.
And that's
because
the
they
thing.
were all guys that are first rounders.
So,
like I said, I like your receivers. Like I do. Like Metcalf is going to be good. Like I don't not like the Metcalf pick. I just would have taken a back there instead.
I
of
chose,
him. But you got Mike Evans,
he's
who
the strong guy on Tampa Bay. Then they have Tom Brady, so you can't really go wrong.
We'll see. I have some I have concerns about him and Chris Godwin though. So it's like, I don't know. I'm sure it'll be fine. Like I just hear things about him, but like it's Mike Evans. It's one of those things. Don't overthink it. He's a good receiver. He's going to do well for you. And I like Amari Cooper. I mean, I think he's got some competition.
4th round.
Yeah, he's got some competition with CD Lamb, but I think he's like far and away the better receiver on that team.
I remember what happened. Okay, so I did take. So when I was before the Amari Cooper pick, what happened was I was planning on getting DeAndre Swift, and this is in the 4th round. But
would have been really good.
DeAndre
that would have been a
Swift
good
was taken before it got back around to me, so I just took Amari Cooper as a wideout because I was gonna take I was trying to take my running back early because I had already gotten 2 receivers, so I didn't really need that 3rd receiver to be like
you could have afforded to wait. Yeah, you could have afforded to wait on the 3rd one, but you have a very deep league where it's like you basically like. With how running backs and receivers work, you really are playing 5 receivers every week.
Right.
So this is a league where you're kind of okay having really good receivers and loading up on them. And I think you have good ones, like your starters being Metcalf, Evans, and Cooper, and then your 2 flexes being Jarvis Landry and Marvin Jones Jr. I think that's great. I mean, my only concern with Landry is the Browns don't pass a ton, but I think – he could be better than Odell. Yeah. And I really like your tight end. I love Mark Andrews.
Yeah, well, I went off of Mark Andrews because he was available at the 5th round. And I think because that was actually the pick before. No. Oh, never mind. I'm losing it. The first quarterback in this round was taken. Actually, it wasn't that bad. I'm trying to see when the first quarterback was taken. It was Patrick Mahomes in the 3rd round.
Well, it always 3rd round.
Yeah,
impressive. My draft it was the same. Someone waited till 3rd round to take him.
Yeah, and then Lamar Jackson was taken, which I thought was a good pick.
Yeah,
but Lamar wasn't taken in the 4th round. Oh yeah, I mean the last quarterback to be taken. Well, that was I guess that doesn't matter because that was Zach Wilson was taken in. And I would not have taken Zach Wilson even as a backup. I would not have.
They're just taking. I'm fine with it because that's when you just take a guy as a flyer.
I guess.
Like my team, just to run down real quickly, I won't spend too much time on it. Like I was picking 3rd. I got Alvin Kamara. I got Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I got DJ Moore, Cortland Sutton. See, my big downfall will be my receivers, if anything. Yeah. Although I really like DJ Moore, but but I got George Kittle. I got DeAndre Swift in like the 4th or 5th round because I had the anti-Lions effect. Like, well, everyone in my draft was like, well, he's a Lion, so he's gonna be bad. And I'm like, he's not bad enough to still be available in round 5, so I'm going to take him. I got a RB2 as a flex, so that's pretty good for me. And then on my bench, I have Marvin Jones, Henry Ruggs. I have Jamal Williams, which is DeAndre Swift's backup, which is what I like to do, is pair the starters with their backups. So if the starter goes down, I now have the next best running back on that team, so I still can get the points of having a starter.
Right.
And I also got Michael Pittman Jr., who I really like on Indy, especially now that T.Y. Hilton's injured. Austin Hooper. And then I took Carson Wentz in like one of my last rounds, just as you took Mac Jones. These are just your guys that like you took the rookie, I took the, Carson, hoping he's going to bounce back to MVP potential. And now if they don't pan out, well, hey, you got your starter in Justin Herbert, who is my starter as well. And if he does end up blowing up and outplays Herbert, well, congrats. You can trade one of those quarterbacks now and get maybe, someone who's really needing a quarterback. Maybe you have a running back issue, they have a quarterback issue. You guys make a nice little trade. You're probably not going to get a first-round running back, but maybe you can get like a Myles Gaskin for, if Mac Jones is lighting it up for Mac Jones straight up. So that's why, you got some good flyers there. I think my guess is you go – how many – you guys play like 15, 14 weeks? I'm going to guess –
yeah. Let me –
Your playoffs probably start in week 15.
We got 14 weeks.
So I'm going to guess your team goes. I'm going to say 9-5.
9-5? All right. Is that good enough to win?
I think that running back is going to be your only downfall. But if anything, I think your team is going to win more games than it loses. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a chance it does better than I'm thinking. But I'm going to give it low because as of right now, that running back thing scares me. But I also don't know how how a league, the 1 years is set up like. I don't know exactly how that's going to play with the extra receiver and flex. So I don't know how much that running back's actually going to hurt you.
Yeah, so I'm not sure.
Just going to have to wait and see.
Well, I know there's because I'm projected to get 135 points. I don't know how much that matters. It's actually supposed to be a close matchup according to.
Yeah, I mean those projections
they're
just
that
projections.
Yeah, right.
Like I'm projected to score 117 and beat my opponent who's projected with 109.
Right.
But it's totally possible. If I looked back at some of my fantasy scores, if my record, if the projection was right every week, I would have been in my 2 years in fantasy in the regular season. We played 14-week seasons. I would have gone 13-week seasons. I would have been won 20 out of the 26 games, according to the projection. But obviously that is not what happened.
Right.
So, projections are just that. I always try to figure out, go off matchup, go off, if you're deciding who to play.
Right. You want to also notice, I guess I'm trying to.
You want to think about who they're playing against. Yeah. You also
if Herbert's playing Washington this weekend, so I don't know. Actually,
that's a good defense.
Well, that's true. So,
but you have Marvin Jones who's going up against Houston,
right? And
Houston's going to be god awful,
right?
But you also have to think about he's a receiver. If Jacksonville runs away with the game, how they're not going to pass it all in the third or fourth quarter potentially. Now, that doesn't happen very much in football, and I don't think Jacksonville is that good, so you're probably fine. But those are all those little things you think about that at the end of the day, you just got to think, what's the matchup? How much do I trust this receiver? How much of the target share are they going to get? And based on that, you just, you got to play it. And I think a lot of the times, go with your gut. I wish I had done that a lot more in fantasy, and I probably would have been better off for it. But that's like I said, we'll keep checking in on our teams throughout the season. make sure you set your lineup before Thursday night because, obviously, once the game starts, those players are locked in for you. Make sure there's no injuries or anything like that. And, man, good luck to you. And hopefully you and I both have very successful seasons in fantasy. But, man, I'm so excited for Thursday. I'm so excited for more football.
Yeah,
it's finally back.
No,
baby.
so
finally
am I. I mean, finally, and I don't know. I'm just hoping I can get to go to Michigan to a Michigan State game.
MSU game.
I'm trying to drag myself to one. It's like I want to go to the one. I want to go to the one on Saturday, but again, like I work at 2:45, so like I can't really go to the game. I mean, it starts at noon, so I can't really go, which is a bummer. And then the following week, I work on Saturday 9:30 to 3. And then on the following week, one of my coworkers is getting married, so a ton of people are going to the wedding. So, like, even though I don't know my schedule for that week, I know that I'm going to work it because, like, half the staff is not going to be able to. So, That's a bummer. So, for, like, the next 3 weeks, I'm just kind of, like, not able to, but... You know, another thing, I've never been to a college football game. Did you know that?
Really? I did not. I was going to say, I've
insane.
gone to a lot.
I know. Football is not actually something that I've attended very much, to be honest, which is sort of surprising.
You're a baseball guy.
That's the thing, right? Like, I've been to a ton of most of the games I've been to are hockey games. But I went to, the last thing I went to, I think, was Detroit Tigers game, which was, again, 2016. But I used to go to a ton of Red Wings games. Those are like the ones I went to the most. But yeah, I went to one NFL game, and it was when the Lions lost to the Buccaneers in 2008. So.
See, I've never been to a Lions
It was
game,
the 0-16 season. I think the tickets were like dirt cheap. But I did want to talk
That
about the
makes
Mets
sense.
real quick, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, let's do that before we get out of here.
Since we last checked, since I last talked to you, the Mets have been really good, like really good. They just to recap, let's check out the Mets schedule. Let's see what they've been doing. Because they haven't been bad. Like the Mets haven't been bad. They lost today, but you know, it is what it is. That, and I'm gonna get into that. Mets are actually 69-69 for the first time in their history. 69
Double
and 69.
Nice.
Great day,
Double
right?
Nice.
So anyway, in the last few Mets games, so they've just finished a huge set against Miami and Washington. They played three against Washington in New York, 3 against Miami in New York, and then they played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with a doubleheader.
Okay.
In Washington, and they went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3. So 7 and 3. So that's not bad, right? But a couple of these games, the offense really showed up, which is great because, you know, but at the same time, like somehow the Mets always find themselves in close games no matter what. Like, look at these scores. Like some of these games are 3-2, 3-2, 2-1. These are all games they lost. Okay. These are some against San Francisco, 4-3, 3-2, like, pitching's great, but like the offense can't figure it out. Then you got these games they won, which are like 5-3, 9-4. So like relatively speaking, like the game they won 9-4, they only gave up 4 runs, which is great. They won a game 3-1 in 7 innings, which was a doubleheader in Miami. Somehow, anyway, then they had. This game, for example, they won 11-9 against Washington. They were winning 9-0 in that game, and it ended up going to it almost went to extra innings. It was 9-9, and that was not fun, not a fun game to watch. But usually, like, they end up somehow, like, if the offense does great, their like pitching just falls through the roof. Which is not great, right? Then today, that was the really big heartbreak because they were winning 3-2, and again, the offense should have scored more than 3 runs. There's nothing, you know, there's no way to run around that. But Edwin Diaz blew his 16th save in 2 years with the Mets. No, 3 years with the Mets, and partly shortened schedule due to last year. But he blew 16 saves with the Mets. No, I'm not sure about you, but that's not great. People like, and I want to talk about this too, because people will talk about closers in baseball like they're like God. Like, people will live and die with their closers. Like, if their closer fucks up, this guy sucks. If their closer does great, this dude's amazing. Like, he's the best dude in the world. Like, that's how
I'll
people
just stand by it.
People react.
I'll stand by it that Edwin Diaz sucks.
I mean, okay, yeah, exactly. That's my point, okay? Now, Mets fans don't want to say that. And, like, I don't care how lovable a guy is. If he's bad at the sport, he's bad at the sport. I'm sorry. I don't feel bad about that. Like, Edwin Diaz, he sucks. I'm not, like, it's so hard to say that a closer with a whip of, which is walks to hits plus innings or per innings pitched, is 1.1. He allows more than one base runner per inning, and he's a closer. He pitches 1 inning a game. And so it's like, why are we allowing this guy to happen? He's 5-4 this year with a .7 WAR. Like, that's not well, I guess it doesn't matter for a closer. But he has an ERA of 3.62, and I'm like, that's not great for a closer. That's terrible. Why is this your guy? This is your guy that's supposed to close out these big games for you, but he's had 16 blown saves. So, like, there's just this weird argument with Mets fans right now where, like, people who dislike Diaz are like, this guy has not been great while he's been here. He's had several heartbreaking saves. And so, like, how are you going to expect this dude to pitch in the postseason? You know? Like, how is that supposed to happen? So, it's just weird, right? Because, like, you have, like, on the other hand, on the other side, you have these guys who are saying that people only dislike Diaz when he sucks, and then they get behind him when he's good. And I haven't been able to trust him since June, actually, if we're being honest, last year. Since, like, I was watching him, and I was like, I just can't deal with this. I just can't do it. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm done watching this. I cannot, honestly, if you can't trust a guy in the 9th inning to close out a big game, then why is he here? So, I don't know. I just can't. That's all. I just can't. That's what I'm going to say. It's just so irritating.
You know what you need, Brad?
Yeah.
You need this Mets season to end.
Yes, I do. You know, okay, one more thing real quick before we go. The Cubs may be the hottest team in baseball. The Chicago
Weird. That's so
Cubs,
funny, isn't it?
The Chicago Cubs.
Like,
so
I don't know.
And they haven't been.
It's the weirdest thing.
They haven't been playing bad teams. I want to read you their schedule real quick. So, and it's so weird to see this. Like, I've been watching a few of their games. Beth Mowins, great announcer. She's great. We love her. She is the voice of the Cubs, part-time, sort of. She actually was the one who announced the Michigan State Northwestern game because she lives, I think, in Chicago. But she is.
Is that her? I'll be
Yeah.
honest. She's like the one. I'm not a fan of her.
Really? She's
I don't
so
know.
good. I love her.
It's a voice thing. I'm just not a fan of her. Like, there are certain announcers' voices who I don't like. Like, it's the same way with Tony Romo, but I would listen to her over Tony Romo because Tony Romo is voice is annoying and he's also an idiot.
Yeah.
Like Booger McFarland. I don't like his voice. Like, that's all it is. It's nothing with her actual broadcasting talent. It's
again, it is just a voice. It is just a voice. Like, a lot of people don't like the Padres announcers.
But anyone who says she is not a competent announcer is, a fucking idiot. She is very good at her job. I just personally don't like to hear her.
So
that's all.
Real quick. So look at this. So the date right now is September 6th. Okay. The Cubs won today 4-3. Somehow. I don't know. Yesterday they beat Pittsburgh on the heels of
was that
two
the
grand slams. Two of them. Two, and they were both go-ahead grand slams. There were 3 grand slams in this game. Anyway,
baseball is fun.
It's a fun time. So the Cubs were swept by Kansas City on August 20th, 21st, and 22nd. Okay, they lost all those games. They only scored 5 runs in 3 of those games. They were outscored by a lot. Now, look at this. So, since then, from August 23rd to now, they've only lost 3 games. 1 was to Colorado, 2 to Chicago, the White Sox. And in that game, they actually scored 13 runs. So I'm looking at this and like I just don't know. Like 4 of those games were against the Pirates, and 1 of them they had to win in extra innings. But like they're doing it. I don't know how. They won. They swept Minnesota in a 2-game series, 3-1 and 3-0, and then they beat Pittsburgh 4-game sweep, and then they just beat the Reds 4-3. And I think they're doing it like all on the heels of their bullpen. Like I just don't understand. I mean, no, this isn't gonna last for very long because they play the Giants in a couple days.
It's a bubble and it's gonna pop.
No,
but it's fun.
I mean, it's just so crazy.
Like the Cubs, I think are a decently well-run organization. This is just the team is getting hot, and it happens. Baseball teams can get streaky, but it's not by no means sustainable.
No.
But I do think the Cubs are like, I don't know. They're just like lately have always been a team that seems to have a lot of fight in them.
They're
their manager or what.
I think their studies suggest that they're the second most lovable team in the MLB, besides like the Yankees.
Yeah, because I think so many besides who?
I think it's the Yankees.
Okay, well that's a bullshit study then. Never mind. Yankees are the most lovable team.
Maybe it was 2 different studies, because I think it was the Cubs were on that list of the most popular. I think that's what it was. It was like the most popular franchises, and the Cubs were 2.
They're one of the most iconic.
And then they might have been at number 1 on the list of the most.
I think lovable makes sense because the Cubs were so bad for so long that it's like pity. It's like when the Browns or the Lions.
Yeah, but nobody likes the Browns.
Well, the Lions haven't won.
Or the Lions.
I like the Browns. I like the Lions. I like the Browns. So
I think it's also with baseball, it's also a lot harder to it's a lot easier to be bad.
And you think of like their streak was infamous. You think of all the things that happened during that streak, especially the dude who caught the foul ball.
Well, because I don't think that it's like because the Cubs are like an incompetent franchise. I think it's just because they made some bad decisions, and that's like, that's what happened. Like Detroit.
The fans aren't like annoying or pretentious.
I mean,
no more than any other fan base.
Well, you saw Detroit try.
They just haven't done anything.
You saw Detroit. The Tigers try to win a World Series and they failed. That happens all the time in baseball. Whereas, like, if you try to win
Stop talking about it. I don't want to hear about the Tigers.
It's so well, but that's the thing. Like, right? Like, you can go a long time without winning just because that's how baseball is. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think that the Cubs should have won the World Series in 2016, but they did. They weren't the best team that year, but they were. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot easier to lose as the best team, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Yep,
absolutely.
So, yeah, I think I'm ready for playoffs with baseball season. I've seen what I need
to. Dude, it's so long. Why is it so long? It doesn't need to be this long. Like, I'm done. I'm a baseball fan, and I've grown out of it. I don't want to hear it. I'm just like, I've watched 1 Mets game in the last week. I watched a Cubs game yesterday, and I'm just sick of it. Like, I don't know. It's so much harder to watch games this late. I don't understand why people still think that we should be playing 162 games. Anyway, that's just me.
I'm in agreement with you.
That's just me.
Yeah, I think I'm just excited for playoffs. It's gonna be a good time. Excited for all the sports that are coming up, man.
Friends,
I think.
I was just gonna wrap up. Is that all right? Is that all right with you if I do the outro?
I was just gonna say, I'm super excited for football, man. And
so am I.
Yeah, wrap it up for the people, and we'll talk to them next week, and we'll see what interesting, juicy things happen over the next week. Because, man, it's going to be a wild weekend with sports.
Yes, we will see you guys again on Tuesday. And, that concludes it. We will see you guys again next time.